Baruch, come. Boker Tov, Reb Shlomo, mechila. I meant for last week. I'm so sorry. You moichel me.
Of course. What's the?
I meant for last week because I was away last week in the Ukraine. So I'm learning with them. I'm learning with them today now, and we'll figure out another time to continue. So my fault. All right. Good morning, everyone. Boker Tov, Ashreinu. Let's jump right back into it, and let's zoom through the continuation of this really powerful Hakdama. It's just a really powerful Hakdama. What's that? The newer version. Does anyone know where we stopped? Yud Bet. I think we stopped at Va'im Gam B'Talmidei. Yes.
Yeah. It's in the newer version. It's Yud Bet in the upper of the two paragraphs.
Oh no. We continued after that.
You did?
Yeah. Gam B'Doreinu Zeh.
I think we finished here at Ki Hayim.
Yeah.
My bookmark is on Yud Dalet.
Yeah, I have the words Gam B'Doreinu Zeh. Gam B'Doreinu Zeh. Do you see it inside? Does anyone need pages?
It's in the middle of the paragraph.
By me it's not, but you it may be.
It's going to be here.
It's here, it's in here.
Gam B'Doreinu
You have the
Zeh.
same book?
Yeah, just 1 second. I'll find it.
It was like down here.
Sorry, guys.
Here, help me find it on here so we can find everything.
Gam B'Doreinu Zeh.
Other contextual words?
Yeah.
I think we might have a different.
Yours is different.
See, some of your
Lo paska chas v'shalom hashalshelet. It's right after the word ze'ikar kiyomenu.
It's here. V'ha'im b'doreinu zeh.
Okay, v'ha'im b'doreinu zeh.
It's here.
Okay, one more. That's
So,
all.
Yud Gimel.
V'ha'im, yeah. V'ha'im b'doreinu zeh. Sorry about this. This from didn't come in yet.
I didn't pick them up yesterday.
Okay, Okay. Okay. Anyone else need?
If you go from that one.
You know what? So let me just go from this one. So what page?
Yud Gimel.
Yud Gimel. Okay. והאם בדורנו זה פסקה חס ושלום השלשלת ואין אנו מוסים את התורה לדור שאחרינו. Could it be? Remember what we were saying, the last thing we learned last week was that what we need to do is Masorah. Masorah is the ikar of our kiyum. How we pass things on to the next generation is the ikar of what makes us who we are. Not so much how much we receive from the last generation. That's their achrayus to give it to us. Our achrayus, our responsibility is what do we do with what we receive from the last generation and pay it forward and go weiter with it. The Rebbe is seeing some kind of a disconnect, some kind of a rifyon, some weakness in the concept of Masorah that's happening in that generation. And we keep on saying, if that's what the Rebbe is saying back then, Gewalt, unbelievable. I was thinking about it this morning. Like this Shabbos was the 75th yard site, You know, it's like I just like we're Be'ezrat Hashem, we're all going to be live and kicking for the 100th yard site. Amen. Right? Like what's going to be by then? So this is like a wake up call to anyone that's in this chain. He's saying over here, could it be that we're not doing our job correctly in the level of Masorah? Instead of just blaming how bad and how hard the world is, you could keep on kvetching for a million years, it still doesn't part you from asking these questions and being very real with them. Ki ha'im be'emet rak bahem levad ha'asham? Is it just on them that they're guilty? Ha'im en gam hem mizera Avram, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov im neshamot kedoshot? And now, like, I'm thinking, like, you know, I was at a wedding recently, like a Tel Aviv style wedding in some far out remote place, and it was, I didn't do the wedding, but I had to, but I was there, old friends of mine, their kid. There were some people there talking in Hebrew. I couldn't believe they were Jewish, mamish. Like I've never seen like such a thing before in my life. Like the extreme, you mention it, whatever it is.
Wow.
You mention it. It was.
What? Was it like immoral talk, like or just anti-Emunah? Like I just like what?
All of that, skull tattoos, like just, did you know what I mean?
Like nivell peh constantly?
Not that, unfortunately, we hear by people that are so-called ma'aminim too. Nivell peh. I wish it was nivell peh. The concept was so far. I knew the Rebbeinu Shalom, right before Rosh Hashanah, I knew Hashem was saying, can you mamish look at them and see Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? You know, it was like Hashem really wanted to push me there. Me and my wife were there. Like, really, can you go there and see Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? Very, very, very difficult. Obviously, I ran home.
Back to the table.
I went home and I cried in the car with Bina. I said, we're not on the level yet. We have to work harder. Your mamish have to work hard, not able to see.
Can I tell a very quick relevant story? Many years ago, my grandparents had fake papers during the Shoah, and they walked around pretending to be non-Jews. And the Nazis caught up with my grandfather at some point, stopped him in the middle of the street, and accused him of being a Jew. And he said, like, we're telling him, they said, drop your pants. And his response was, why? Because you want to see mine. And he used whatever words people use in the streets. And the Nazis laughed and said, no Jew would ever talk that way.
Wow.
Even the Nazis knew how it was.
Wow. That's a pretty intense story.
That's a good story.
That's a crazy story. So he's saying, are these neshamas that look so off, they're not from Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? Of course they are. Why should we cheat ourselves with using these terutzim shel hevel, these vanity excuses, saying, we want to give over Masorah to them. It's them. They're guilty. They refuse to receive. I would love to give them Shabbos. They don't want. They don't want to get Shabbos. It's true. As much as they are, to a certain extent, rebellious and don't want to hear. If we would take these, he calls them criminals, but what he means over here is not, he just means the rebels, the kofrim, right? אילו היו בדורות ראשונים, האם גם אז לא קיבלו? האם בכל אשמתם ובכל פצעי נפשם אשר בהם עתה, שלא היו בבני נוער הקודמים, לא היה גם הם רובם ככולם צדיקים, או על כל פנים יהודים פשוטים נאמנים? Could it be like if you took these people and placed them in previous generations, do you really not think that some of them could come out like Gevald Tzadikim, or at least, what did he say? Yehudim Pshutim Ne'emanim. Why in previous generations, this type of caliber of person would be placed in a previous generation and they would have a better chance of sticking it through?
What? The Masorah is given over.
Right, so he's gonna just mefaret it, he's gonna detail it. Mipnei she'avot, and this is he's talking to you and me. Because their fathers and their parents and their whole previous generation, just like bichlal, they were more in awe of the word of Hashem than us. Also in this inyan, Bechinuch dor hatzair, when it came to educating the younger generation, hayu harbe yoter charedim. They were much more scared and in awe of messing that up. Uchelapidei esh mitba'arim. They would be on fire for this, and it would be burning in them. Velo hayu mitrashlim. They wouldn't neglect this matter. Umistaklim b'shivyon nefesh v'koruach, and they would look and say, "Oh, we're doing our best. Society is difficult. We're living in difficult times." Saying that they wouldn't look at life like that. Al ador hatzair kinitba b'sheol tachtid. They wouldn't look at this, at such a generation that's sinking down. Al am Hashem kinoflim b'chfira rachman al itzlan. They'd see a whole group of people that are falling in kfir. You hear a lot of Hashem Yishmor. You hear a lot of kfir. Now, what's usually the counterbalance today to hearing kfira? So you say, well, if I would hear what the Charedim were saying today, I'd be sounding like them too, right? And we keep on going like that. And it's such a sick, twisted way of determining why I'm not on fire for taking care of the Noor of today. Or even defining what it means to take care of the youth of today. Even to define what that means. I don't want to push them so much on Shabbos or in Yiddishkeit because I've got to always make sure that they feel welcome. But we've gotten so trapped into that voice that the Rebbe is saying, look at this door. Now it's like in the name of holiness, we are welcoming groups of kfir into Am Yisrael.
Today it's even, I think, worse. It's basically he's trying to say, if you're a link in the chain, which means that you're in charge of the link that came before you, because if you can get enough, then go get it.
Right.
And if you're in charge of the link that comes below you. So I think today, if anything, we're saying look at the generation before us as well, because that's his time.
Right.
And we're also saying look at the generation after us; they have no chance. And look at us. I understand why we came this way because we're so screwed up.
Right.
But he's saying don't do that. Take responsibility of everything that came before your current time and the next generation.
Right. I mean, there's one major elephant in the Sefer, and that's that 6 million were killed after this was written, right? That's exactly where we are more in need of begging Hashem to explain to us how to implement these kind of words in a level that was unknown to the world. Like the Rabbi writes in Eish Kodesh, he has one of the most famous footnotes, one of the most painful footnotes ever, footnote from 1942. Remember that footnote? Where he writes in a previous year, he says, the atrocities, we've been through hell, we haven't had such bad atrocities since Churban Bayit Sheni. Then the Rebbe rewrites in a footnote, he says, I said that there was never such atrocities since. This is much worse than whatever we went through Churban Bayit Sheni. So, this was written in 1932, right? And it's such an achrayus for us to write Chovas Hatalmidim of today.
Two
Yeah.
things. One, like you said, the Masorah thing, if you think about it, nowadays, just reiterating, nowadays, how many people can say, I can trace my lineage back all the way this far? I envy the people who can do that. I mean, there are many, but it's a lot less, before the war, right? But before the war, it was I'm sure, everybody, they grew up in the same town that their parents, grandparents, great-grandparents were, in Europe and in Soviet Union or whatever. The second point is you brought up the Shabbos thing, forcing it on our children. We're afraid to force it on. Well, I have a question. So I mean, going back to my childhood and seeing friends and knowing from my own experiences. So what do you think is the
Well, he's actually going to answer this question.
Obviously, we need by example, whatever, but how much can be forced down with it? It's not that's not.
No. He's setting us up for what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you have enough guts to ask yourself these questions, which he's forcing us to do, then you'll get an honest answer to really relate to what you just brought up. So hold on for 1 minute. Yeah.
I just want to your point about what happened was a few years later.
Right.
Do you think the Rabbi would say anything different if he was in 1946 writing the same thing?
That I spoke on Thursday night at this gathering for the PSS New York State, right? That's why I couldn't be with you guys on the Eitam. And I taught a very heavy piece from the Eish Kodesh, from Parshas Chayei Sarah, piece we've done before about Sarah Imenu when she saw Yitzchak was on the Akedah, based on the way he darshans out Rashi, and he's talking to Hashem, the Rabbi from the ghetto, and he says, Sarah voluntarily died in protest to show Hashem that certain Nisyonos you can't put Yidden through. Simple Dvar Torah, simple stuff. So,
Can you say that again? She voluntarily died to show that there are some messiahs that are too much?
Yeah. That's what the Rebbe is saying to Hashem while Yidden are being shechted every second outside his house. Yeah, it's a very heavy piece. Now, what's interesting about that is that piece is from 1939. The Rebbe writes that.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, so this kid came up to me after the shiur and he was really ticked off at me. He really had a hard time. Not at me, at the reality. So he said to me, do you think the Rebbe wanted us to learn Eish Kodesh in context? Meaning, this is what was happening then, but that's not the Metzius now, so don't learn those Torahs as literally as you would have learned them if you were going through it live. So I said to him, look, the only thing we know about the Eish Kodesh is that he begged everyone to learn these Torahs. He wanted everyone to learn these teachings. I don't think that he had in mind to say, you have to learn everything in context, right? So therefore, to answer this question, what would the Rebbe say today? He's forcing us to come up with the same passionate type of Torah in context with where we're at today, but not forgetting that those things actually happened. There's a picture that really is very, very, very haunting me. I saw it yesterday in social media about the husband of this woman, Kim, that was killed last week in Barkan. That after everyone left the funeral in the Shomron, you saw that picture? He couldn't leave. It was basically him sitting like this on a chair in front of his freshly buried wife, the pile of mountain, right? And he's sitting like this. Life goes on, life goes on, life goes on, life goes on. We keep on talking about this, right? So he's sitting like this. So at what point do you tell, if ever, do you tell a person, listen, there's a time for everything? You never say that, because Misha Meitom Mutal Lefanav, we have all these halachas about people that, when they're dead are lying before them, they fall into a different context, different category of how you relate to anything in this world, right? So that's why, like, on a certain level, I think we hold, we're all, until Mashiach comes, b'fchinas misha meital mutal lefanav. All of us.
It's the same darga that the Rabbi was when he wrote the same
No. And you knew the answer to that before you asked that even.
No, I'm saying...
There's not a chance that anyone can say that today, because we have Eretz Yisrael. We're back here. Sorry?
So maybe we should... So the same way, there are things that I couldn't say to a reasonable person who isn't, in the middle of mourning. So maybe these are things that... Maybe the Torahs would be different in today's day and age.
It could be. No, he's saying, what would the Rebbe say today? I'm saying, I don't think the Rebbe would say, that was for then, and now it's a different Torah. I think there's a lot in 1939 Torah, that the Rebbe would say in all aspects that was still shayach for today. Absolutely. It can't be that it was l'sha'ata. Like, that Torah was for then. If it's Dvar Hashem, it's Chai v'Kain and it's until Mashiach comes, and then we have a new Torah. But until Mashiach comes, those Divrei Elokim Chaim are meant, every word is meant for every single moment. So, but the question that we're asking here is not the one of like the man's dialogue with God about suffering. The question we're asking here is about how do we approach giving over Masorah. The trouble that we're having in trying to understand how this is for us today is that part of us giving over Masorah is the acknowledgement of a God that put 6 million in gas chambers. That's the difficulty that we kind of have today. Not kind of, that we fully have today. Right?
Or in a world that we live in where, God forbid, our kids say, does it really matter? Because they see such a broad world that they're like, does it really matter if I keep Shabbos? Does it really matter if I do this? Does it really matter? Like, does it make a difference in the world? Like, look, I mean, back to the show, all those Jews were keeping Shabbos, all those Jews were keeping halacha, and what happened? Like, does it really matter?
These are big stuff.
Masorah is given over by parents, by the schools, etc. Look, I grew up in a time I wasn't Dati. I went to an Orthodox shul whenever I went, but it was conservative. I didn't have a Masorah. Nobody gave over anything. The truth is, it's a bracha that I'm where I am. Hashem, why did you choose me? There's people that are
You're blessed.
Seem to be I'm blessed.
You're
and
blessed.
I believe we're all blessed. And when we go every morning, just to keep that in mind, because if nothing else, even if you grew up in a certain way, that was amazing.
But now we have to figure out
here. But how do we give
exactly that's the
over
question.
To
That's
our
the
children,
question.
our grandchildren, our Yehudim. But
yeah.
Maybe you don't hear me. Maybe if the Rabbi was speaking, and he was a fire of truth, right? So, and we know that. Why don't maybe, with all due respect to the person who wrote the historical context book, and with all due respect to maybe the way we've done Sherm in the past, by putting it in historical context, maybe we benefit more by not trying to figure out what year it was in, and just understand it for the truth that it means to us today, because it's endless.
All the Sfarim or this one specifically?
In general, when we're learning PSS's teachings, maybe we benefit just to what is that? How is it? It's emes, right?
No, it's true. But when it comes to learning Eish Kodesh, that would be almost impossible to differentiate. Even though it's shayach to every single day, but it'd almost be impossible to disconnect the context with the. I think.
Because it's so organized.
Yeah, because it's like a data, it's not really like it's interesting. It's not really like a perush on the Torah. It's really a diary. It's just, a Yid's diary is basically understanding everything through the Torah. But other Svarim, absolutely. It's just, I would say, I don't even know if the question isn't, is it possible? Is it even shayach to do that with Dafka, only with Eish Kodesh? Everything else, yes. Yes. Yeah.
I don't know, actually. I respectfully actually disagree.
But I think you have to talk much louder.
I respectfully disagree. I think that it's important actually to have context in everything, even Torah. Because even though there are universal truths, once you understand the context of which something was given, you understand even better. And I'll give you an example. Everybody says, and it helps actually when we're dealing with chinuch and with kids. Like it's like, oh, everybody's got a flood epic, no one has anything special. But if you understand that the Gilgamesh epic had no moral content, the gods destroyed human beings because they were making too much noise, and then you understand the moral message that we have, it hits you in the head. And the reason it took off was because everybody did have a flood epic, and they could identify with that. And it actually gives a much broader understanding when you understand the context in which everything is given.
But should it change any of its relevance?
No, it doesn't change. In fact, it increases the relevance, is what I'm saying. It's something to say to the kids, oh, everybody's got this. No. This is unique, and here's why. Look at what everybody else has.
And see how yours is unique and different.
Exactly.
Our whole existence is about dual truths that don't necessarily fit together. So you have to both understand. I totally agree with that one. What the context was, where the words are written, and then how it applies for us today.
Right.
And they don't necessarily jive.
But they don't contradict either. That's the thing.
They enrich each other, and it's really important to have this context. Right. I think, especially for the generation who is talking about relevance all the time. Here's why it's relevant.
Right. Okay. Let's go further.
Second to last line of that.
Berash kamu v'et kol nafsham u'meodam masru la'atzilam. Speaking of the previous generation, Berash kamu, they got up in our great grandparents. They'd see this. They got up in fierce, in loud, with noise, and they gave their whole nefesh to save what they saw was becoming an epidemic of kfira. Lechancham b'derech Hashem. Be'etzot v'am tlaot shonot, to educate them in the derech of Hashem with different tricks, even, and different persuasions, whatever they needed to do in order to keep the door in check. Ve'im ken anachnu hador hagadol mehem. So if that's true, so what about us, the next generation, the dor hamechanech otam, the generation that is now educating the next generation? Asher aleinu hachov limsor lehem et kedushat Hashem, torato va'avodato. That our obligation is to give over them the kedusha of Hashem, His Torah and His avodah. Hayim yecholim anu le'mor b'menuchat hanefesh? Can we peacefully say, Yadeinu lo shavchu et hadam hazeh shel nishmot Yisrael yive'er shachat? Our hands didn't spill this blood that we see before us. Ma nomar lifnei yoshev marom What are we going to say before Hashem? How are we going to justify ourselves before Hashem? כאשר יבוא לפקוד על צבא מרום בארץ, ועל הדור הצעיר צאן מרעיתו, אשר בידינו הפקד ולא אחריותנו בטח. Hashem ממרום ישאג וממעון קודשו ייתן קולו. God will roar from his higher chambers saying, Banai heichan hem, where are my children? Banai rechumai, bnei Avram, Yitzchak, veYaakov. Where are the children? Heichan hem. Where are the children of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? You know, Rina and I had this moment. David, I don't know if you and Nitza did as well, because our girls go to this chug together. Do you know about this? Did Nitza tell you about this? Our girls go to this chug together, this chug Zumba. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds cool. It's a dance thing. And I did pick up this week. So I picked up my daughter, and then David's daughter, Toby's daughter, and Shaul Flang's daughter. And they come to the car looking really like they saw something bad. Not that they did, or maybe like they even did something bad. And I said, what happened? And they're like, each one is like, no, you say. I'm like, what happened? Like, what could have happened from, I just saw you leaving the Zumba room. Like, what happened? Did you like pour raw eggs on the teacher's hair or something? Like, what did you do? Stink bombs. We were big into stink bombs growing up. No? Anybody else?
Yes.
Stink bombs, yeah. I said when I was growing up. He was like, you were last week.
The glass on stink bomb.
Anywho, so they finally, Tiferet says, the teacher played songs that we don't think we should hear. I said, what do you mean? She said, there was a song about like boys and girls kissing and stuff like that. So my Kohen blood is fuming. I'm about to take a romach and go look for the teacher. But I had to show my children how we love Am Yisrael. Oh, thank you. And I was, first of all 4 girls were really bothered by it. Which is honestly like, mamash, like I felt so happy. I was broken, but I felt so happy. And then we called the teacher, and I know Chaya did also, and she's never playing this music again. Now, it's music, it's a love song. Do you know how poisonous that kind of music can be in our young door? Music has access to their neshamas more than any Torah teachings or classrooms. Whatever they'll get in chinuch, music, we know this for a fact, and obviously I'm very sensitive to it, right? But all of Efrat, whenever there's social things here, there's poison, tuma, coming out of speakers here, quite often. And I mean, I'm definitely, very, very big on taking this on. When kids have a big thing in the park and they're skating over here, we're a religious yeshuv, why on earth do all our children that are learning about Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov in the morning have to hear, I'm not your toy? This is craziness. It's even crazier that we're nervous to look like we're religious zealots by protesting. This is basic Shiva basics. Basics 101.
I was just in Fox buying a pair of pants, and there was the music and everything. We're in Gishitz, why do we have to have this nonsense? And Galgalatz, and the manager said, I agree with you, all the workers agreed, and everybody around was like, could we just stop with everybody feels that way. Galgalatz, you turn on the radio in the country.
But the Rebbe is saying, can you say, if you don't cry over that, this just as an example, can you say, he's saying, like he's really putting this, can you say, Yadeinu lo shafchu et hadam hazeh? Can you say that? Where are my children? That's why the whole thing about making Aliyah, we all know it's just the first stage. It's just the first stage. There's so much more work. There's so much more. Music is one example, but it's a big example. Because we know that it really does touch the core of the neshama. It really, really does. It mamash does. Like yesterday we had a meeting somewhere and there was actually no music on at all. But even there, like, if this is what we believe in, like, why do I have to go to like the Bat Ayin Kvartzion Chumos place to hear some Rabbi Nachman, in the background? Like, it doesn't have to be Rabbi Nachman. Put on like Jackson Brown. Put on something half decent, not because it's. You know what I mean? Put on something like, it doesn't have to be Hasidic and Igunim. That's not the point. Clean.
Because I've wondered how you can give a tudas kashrut on a place that plays music that's not kosher.
Right. It's forcing us to just be real with what our concepts of kosher and non-kosher is.
But, you know, it's...
Here, wait. We have to go. I'm sorry, guys. We have to go a bit more further. ואם באמת רוצים אנו לשוב אל השם ולתקן את אשר עיוותנו בזה, if we really want to come back to Hashem and fix that which we have distorted with this, עלינו להכיר גם את חלק אשמתנו בזה. We must recognize our ashma, where we went wrong with this. כי אף אם בהם פצע אשר לא היה בבני הנוער אשר לפנים, אנו למה הזנחנו אותם מבלי חקור ומבלי עמוד על מחמת נפשם בעודם רכים? How were we able to neglect certain wounds that were seen when they were much younger, right? How could we have let them go to where it goes? ובידינו לדעת איך ובמה להרפאותם. We need to figure out, where the healing comes. A child's neshama, specifically with music, obviously, a child's soul is so in need to express and to be touched, right? So, for instance, when I was younger, I would listen to I'm trying to think really young, right? Before, I don't know if it's rumors. I can't even figure out today if Phil Collins hates Jews, likes Jews, or right. But that was a rumor. Everyone had an uncle that went to a Phil Collins show that said all dogs and Jews, right? No one was there, but everyone had an uncle that went to that concert of Genesis, right? Or an aunt or a sister-in-law, right? About Phil Collins.
Later on, it was live, band live.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, no. They used the Reich's word. The Third Reich's word name in one of their songs. Yeah. On a bonus track. That was true. I had a whole ceremony burning their CD. I found it on the bonus track. That was true. Saying there's a lot of different things, right? So what happens to our neshamas, our souls, especially those of us that grew up in America, we have much more of a consciousness of relating to that tarbut. So what do we do with ourselves when we identify with something that feels so good? But then there's such a problem in its essence, right? This stuff happens at a young age, at a very young age. Baruch Hashem, although our kids they're filled with other music, right? They're filled with other music, especially here. They're filled with music all the time. They could do havdalah. They can separate between. Again, we're not talking about only Hasidish and Nigunim. I want my children to grow up on certain songs of David Crosby, for instance, back in the day. Stam I'm saying.
So it's a inyan to be able to say, not just to bunch everything together. The genre is okay. I listen to the genre.
Right. It's pnimi. It's pnimi. What's going on in the genre? Now, I'm not going to start saying Jackson Brown provides a mikvah to those who listen to him, right? But we're talking about the difference between that and a child going to a Zumba class, having to hear about Kelly and Steve and Hank hooking up. Hashem Yirachim. Why is that part? How in the world could that not be viewed as absolute treif, like we wouldn't go close to pork?
Because the mentality of it doesn't really matter.
I think that there's another element that we struggle with in this country, and that is a lot of Israelis just don't know what the English words are, and as such they don't like. There's no such thing, for example, as censoring on the radio. They play everything.
No, unfortunately, she's not Israeli though. The teacher.
Yeah, that's not.
Sorry.
We come away. All of us come with this culture where suddenly, I can watch smut if it's on a movie because my eyes were open and it just happened to be there, but I wanted to see this movie because it's the best thing that came out. But it's not okay to turn on a smut film. Right? How is it? How do we justify it? Because we come from this culture where that movie was out, everybody's got to go see it. We were part of that culture, unfortunately.
Right. So the Rebbe is saying, he's saying, listen, the Masorah maybe didn't go to you, but now if you're busy learning Chovas Hatalmidim, if you're coming up to this, so it means you really have an inyan in you to go and be mashpia on the next generation in a really pure way. And you don't want to hide behind, listen, I didn't get Masorah, it's not my fault. Right? You don't want that. It's not. You wouldn't be coming to a PSS Nashir or learning the PSS and Rebbe's Torah if you're trying to still hide behind justifications for why your Masorah giving is lacks in its essence. You want more. You want more. You're determined to give your child so much more than whatever you were given with the confusions that you were brought up with. You want to give them much more. And that's who he's talking to. But he's saying, if that's the case, you must go inside and say, when did I start ignoring the little things at a young age? At what point did I start ignoring tiny things that I said, it doesn't really matter. You know, Kobe's writing to us that people don't really listen to lyrics, it's passive sound. I disagree. Children actually do listen to lyrics. Or maybe you're talking just about adults. Children do listen to lyrics. Yeah, children.
But adults also, the passive sound has a subconscious impact. Our brain is
absolutely. Let's go weiter. Continue. Lama iznachnu otam mibli. We're in the end of the third line. Lama iznachnu otam bli chakor mibli amod al machalat nafsham beodam rakim, when they're still little. Ubeyadenu ladat ech uvameh lerapotam. We must know how to heal this. She'el kol asher nachpotz natem. That we should guide them to that which our heart desires to. Ha'im yitbarech ha'av belibo o apotropos hayeled lemor chaf ani min mumei hayeled. Will a father or the guardian of a child say, I am guilt-free from any of the blemishes of a child? If we know that what? Reshit machalato rak petza katan haya asher yachol haya leraped. At the beginning of the core wound was a stam, a little thing at a young age. V'rak behitrashluto, only because of neglect. Nitpashta ve'et evarav hirkiva. It spread forth and it started to spoil and rot in the bones. Now he's talking about what's the spoiling, the rotting of the bones. What kind of image does he have in front of him? The guy that is going and setting up Jewish, apikoris communist clubhouses, right? That was happening back then. You see how bad they are. You see how bad they could be, or that they already are. He's saying, don't just say, oh my God, look at this door. And to just give a crutch. Oy, b'nei hanohar. Oy, the youth of today. We must feel the pain and the worriness of the heart also about our neglect. Only then. Only then can we look for advice. Search for advice, what to fix and what to do, to fix the brokenness of our people. We pray to Hashem, he should guide us in his way. This sounds so breastful. And the heart of stone of the youth he shall remove, because at a certain point, he's saying, what's forming in a child? A heart of stone towards what you have to offer and what you have to say, because it's going against everything that they think that they believe in. And all of us will merit to serve Hashem together with a full heart. And to be from Am Yisrael, who in you I become glorified. And we're able to say this from the Zohar, look in this creation that I, how would you say this? The Atena Legabach. On you, meaning that basically the whole concept of Hashem looking at you and having nachas. Having nachas. And this, yes, where am I, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? So, like what I experienced at that wedding? No, my God, look what happened to them. Or I go inside my heart and I say, Ribono Shel Olam, how do I let myself really go about thinking that, everything's okay? Well, I know that you can't even identify an Avram, a Yitzchak, or a Yaakov in certain types of Yidden, right? So, Reb Shlomo once said the difference between his version of keeping Shabbos and others keeping Shabbos is that many people think you either keep Shabbos or you don't keep Shabbos based on how much halacha you keep and you know about the observance of Shabbos. He once said V'shamru v'nei Yisrael es Shabbos. How do you know if you keep Shabbos? Lidorosam, which means how much are you looking for people in your doros and for future doros that don't know about Shabbos yet? That's his. It was his Reb Shlomo's definition of a Shomer Shabbos Yid. I found that to be like, obviously it's not the pshat. We know you have to keep Shabbos, right? But ledorotam brit olam. Like, are you putting them into the Masorah of Shabbos? This is an os beini uvenechem, beini v'bnei Yisrael osi leolam. So it really goes line in line with what the Piasetzner Rebbe is saying over here. He's forcing us to really continue. Lo behasharot. Not hashara means assumption or hashara. Ani misha'er, assumptions or
Supposition.
there's another word for it. Approximation. No, like approximate. Rak bechukim eitanim uveuvdot chazakot. With clear, strong rules and solid facts. Aleinu leva'er barishona ma chiluk ben dor ledor. We first need to have enough guts to look at what differentiates between each generation. We have to look at it. Lama batorot hakodmim lanu kol chinuch shu haya mo'il. Why is it that in previous generations any type of chinuch would be very beneficial? Talmidei kol melamed uvnei kol av. Almost everyone, all the melamdim and all the parents, rubam kechulam hayu ovdei Hashem. Almost everyone that was either a parent or in chinuch, he's saying over here something that should be a given. They were ovdei Hashem. V'lo chen ata. And that's not the situation today. And we need to figure out why that is. That's why this is very passionate stuff. It's putting things like we like to put things, make it uncomfortable. But he's saying over here, if you're okay with the fact that not everyone that's teaching your child is an Eved Hashem, even though they can give over the Chomer correctly, then you really, really are going to have to answer the question that you're going to be asked, Banai, Banai, Heichanim. Where are my children, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? Where are the children of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? Now he's saying that about where you choose to send your child to chinuch, but he's also talking about, we always go back to this, each of us that has gotten into chinuch by the mere fact that we mekayim the mitzvah of pruruvu, whether we like it or not. Whether we like it or not. And that's why this whole akdama is a siach for the avos habanim and the melamdim, parents and the teachers. So I just want to say one thing before we end, because our chaver Elisha's here. I want to say one important thing. These types of shiurim, I get a little bit nervous when this type of stuff is online. Only because of anything that's online today. Everything and anything can be taken out of context. I believe there's enough love and there's enough trust to know that even there's very heavy statements that were said today, not just what the Rebbe is saying, what I said, what others said, there's enough trust in the room to know that we can build with what was said, and not chas v'shalom use it to disapprove or judge anybody. I don't judge my girl's Zumba teacher. She's doing exactly what she thinks is fine, and she got a certificate to be able to do what she's doing by the Moatzah here. And I chose to live in a place that allows this. So the achrayus is on one person, me. Only on me. If I choose to live in a place that is okay with this kind of, cultural values, then it's on me. But again, like when you call the teacher and you call the person, how much love, patience, understanding, and space is there in the conversation, right? That's really what it boils down to. My wife had to guide me through a whole. Before I called her, I had a whole. But put down the romach.
Songs that are built into Zoom. It's not like she picked that. That's the music that they recommend for the thing.
There could be a million reasons. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Truth comes out.
All right, listen. Anyway, I want you all come. I'm very happy that I know one of the chaver has to leave. Maybe two have to leave, but here, come to the front. Elisha's going to come. I shared with you all about the well of being. Well of being? Well of being, right?
Yeah,
well of being. And just like give Elisha a few minutes to discuss this very, very, very important, healthy chidush in the world, which really isn't a chidush. I think it's this restoring lost art of how to be and whatnot. Yeah, itchadshut. I think that'd be really good. All right? Listen, well, 1 second. I just want to make sure. I got in trouble last time, like 2 years ago, with the share about music. Are we okay with everything that we learned today? No. I have to like bemet, like.
The sheer of music opened up many doors.
You didn't get in trouble. It was an uncomfortable share for a lot of us.
Right.
You know what?
That's not the same thing.
Honestly, I have to say I'm hearing something a little different here than I heard that time. I mean,
because I said that Jackson Brown is cool.
Right. As an adult, as someone who's lived in the world, as an adult, maybe we're able to do that. A child's not necessarily able to do that. It's a different thing.
That's why the achrayut is so much more intense.
If Jackson Brown sings a love song, is that okay? So I'm saying, he says at the end here, the Philippines door the door.
Right.
There's every generation for the last 7 generations. That flow just keeps getting bigger.
Now, the reason why I said Jackson Brown was one time I was sitting with Rabbi Weinberger. We were talking about the toma that comes from Jewish songs.
Yeah.
Right? Not love songs about the Zumba classes.
Oh, Mashiach, that one?
No, that's.
I remember you saying that's not.
Okay?
Are you recording?
You and I have to schmooze after. No, Mashiach is a good thing. What do you mean?
You said that there was a type of tune that.
I meant that you have today, and then you throw on psukim just to fit. Whatever he gave me. We had a long conversation about like. Just the cheapness. Reb Shlomo spoke about this. Reb Shlomo spoke about this all the time. The cheapening of Jewish music. Jewish music is something so precious, valuable, deep, and to cheapen it is just trying to throw things on and doesn't add up. So he said to me in his office, he was like, once upon a time, like if you listen to Paul Simon, Jackson Brown, like he's quoted Paul Simon a few times in Shirim. One of the lines he quotes most, which I think is most relevant, and it could be relevant to a shir like this, is man hears what he wants to hear and disregards the rest. That's a very deep, deep line. I don't mind. My child should be able to, contain that. I think each parent has to know with their own judgment, but there are certain things that are clearly not shayach for Jewish children. Or non-Jewish children. I think the purity of all children in the world. A child that's going to a dance class at 7 doesn't have to hear about teenagers making out. And any religion and any faith. There's no need for it. No one gets anything from that. Nobody. So I think that's why it's a more refined nakuda, and we're getting closer to it. Okay, sorry.